stress isn't good. Like certain stress is terrible for you, right? It's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain stress, and we're going to call it tactical stress,
Yes.
which is good for you.
Yeah.
And it basically is stress that makes you move out of your comfort zone.
Yep. Yep. It's very important to have that because that brings the sense of urgency, that brings the direction and the focus. And it's a good stress. It's stressful, but it's tactical, just like you said, to make efficient decision making and productive ways and using all the systems that are available to us to get the job done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, and good morning, America and the world. This is Vinny Chopra and Bo Eckstein, Vinny and Bo Show. We come live to you. Bo, how are you, bro? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. It's Friday. I've been
Yeah.
working for the last 4 months. I've literally worked nonstop. I can't imagine. I've never been this busy in my life, actually. Like my calendar is just filled with people.
I love
And
it. Love it.
I'm finally getting into my groove, like where I feel like really, really good, and I'm really understanding business a lot more now, like how important our time is, and how we have to really focus on the money making activities, and that's really what I'm doing different now towards the end of the year that I wasn't doing maybe last year. And so that's exciting, right? Like where
I've
you,
seen a big difference. I really
yeah,
have. And I want to give you accolade on that. Everybody listening, watching us, definitely look at where you're spending time. Myself, I'm pivoting. I have to pivot because multifamily syndication business is not as lucrative as it was before. Lots of hassles, lots of different things. So you have to pivot. You have to see how you can grow your business. So, no, that's good. I know I've seen you just,
yeah.
blossom.
And that, what you just said, just brings up about talking about pivoting is our topic for the show today,
Yeah.
which we're going to call tactical stress. And I first
Yes.
heard it on another person's podcast, and I started really thinking about it, listening to the podcast. And I'm like, stress isn't good. Like certain stress is terrible for you, right? It's going to kill you.
Hmm. Hmm.
But there's certain stress, and we're going to call it tactical stress, which
Yes.
is good for you.
Yeah.
And it basically is stress that makes you move out of your comfort zone.
Yep. Yep. It's so
And
important. It's very important to have that because that brings the sense of urgency, that brings the direction and the focus. And it's a good stress. It's stressful, but it's tactical, just like you said, to make efficient decision making and productive ways and using all the systems that are available to us to get the job done. Yeah.
yeah. So the other night I was like, how can I implement tactical stress? So I said, okay, I did an event like 2 weeks ago, and I'm always nervous that I'm not going to get the draw, right? Because now online events are very hard to get people to.
Yeah.
And it was slowly going and going and going. And I was always going on to my Eventbrite link, and now I got up to about 77 people. And my goal was to get 100 people that RSVP'd.
Yeah.
And it was the day of the event. I was at 77. I said, okay, I did okay. I almost got to my goal. I was like a C plus.
Yeah.
And then I did like one big push, and when I went back and looked at my numbers, I had 106 people that RSVP'd. Because it's all a numbers game, people. I just heard one of your reels, Vinny, and you were talking about KPIs.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so a KPI could be as simple as if I'm going to get 100 people to opt in to come to a webinar, I know statistically you're going to get 25 to 28%.
Yeah.
So anyways, the event happened, and I pulled my Zoom report. 106 opted in, and 41 showed up. So I actually
Better.
beat my right, and so that was like reassuring. But so then the other day I was like, okay, like my event was a success.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do I use this tactical stress? And so I'm like, I'm going to put a date out and just host another event. And yesterday I came up with the name of the event, and I just set the date. So now that's a good tactical stress, right? See, now that's going to push me. I'm a little bit uncomfortable. It's the same thing. Oh, I hope I can get people there. It's during the holiday season. But that is what we're talking about, tactical strength, tactical stress.
Stress. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we can all incorporate this in some way. And that could be, if you're a real estate syndicator, that could be getting yourself uncomfortable on the phone calling your
Investors,
investors. Or
brokers,
that could,
those are the two
right.
lifeline for us, and like yesterday in my show, Abundance Mindset Show, we talked about how to sell to investors this time of the year when everything is going haywire, how to really appeal to their personality and their, what they really want. Shorten, no, making your whole presentation or slide deck, I call it, from 70 slides to 11 slides. That was amazing because they don't have time and we need to only hit the right buttons for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You're right. Like nobody wants to sit through 70 slides. You want to give them what
Mhm.
they want. You know,
Yep.
it's not about a little bit you want to show your achievements, but really it's the benefits to them, right? What are the
Totally.
benefits to them? Like
Totally.
that's what they want to know. What's in it for me? Right? And
Exactly.
so that's what we have
Exactly.
to share with them and to do it quicker, right? Because people don't have attention anymore. So you have to be, I mean, look at social media. If you do posts, they want you to grab their attention right off the bat.
That's
And
it.
if you
Yeah.
don't do that,
You lose
they're
it.
not going to watch your video.
6 seconds, 6 seconds or 9 seconds are here now reading on it. The other part is, I was just, if I may, anybody, who wants to give a presentation, there are analytical people, research engineers, financial, they want bigger decks. So I really believe in having smaller deck, 11 slides for doctors and drivers and CEOs of their businesses and, people. But the key thing is you've got to have shorter deck and a longer deck so that you could provide what every personality needs. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting too? Like when it's tougher to raise money, like it's probably a lot harder today than it was 3 years ago, right? Or
Totally.
prior to COVID.
Totally. Totally, brother.
But the reality of it is there's going to be better deals
Yeah.
coming up
Yep.
and people are scared, right? So they don't get into the good deals because and then
Waiting for better deals. Yeah.
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 And so, but if you invest now, you're ahead of the game. But like people don't think that way. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's fear and the big investors know when there's fear, that's when they scoop up, right? But
Yeah.
the smaller investors, they're like, okay, no, I don't want to invest because I'm seeing all this negativity. But really, this is the time where you start getting ready to buy more stuff because,
I mean, look at
yeah,
Warren Buffett and a lot of other, great people who have made well in this, lifetime. They are always looking for opportunities like what happened in 2007, 8, and 9, buying things, properties, whatever, whatever. That's when I got started. I didn't know much about Michael's market cycles. Bo, you know me. I mean, it just was the right time, right, whatever place. But we have done really well in the last 3 years too. But I've sold so much, and now we are ready to buy again. So you're
yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, now's the time I think where most people will step on the brake. It's like now I think it's like I'm
double down. This
double
is
down
the
on
time to
everything.
double down. You said the same word as I did. This is the time to double down, to have tactical stress. Everybody watching us or listening to us, if you don't have tactical stress, you got to have it. Because as a CEO, as a visionary, as the person who really wants to grow in 2024, 25, 26, this is the time. Last quarter of this year will prepare you best for the next 3 years. I really believe that. And you
Yeah,
got to pivot, like we talked about that. Look at where your strengths are. 10x is better than 2x, that book we talked about, right? We talked about, gap and the gain, and we talked about, spending time with your top clients at a higher level so that you could duplicate them and triplicate those, right? All those things.
yeah. And I look too how I'm pivoting, right? And for a while I was stuck in this thing like, oh, I'm transaction based and I do my
Yeah.
loans, and that was really how I made my living. And
Yes.
but now it's diversified. I have some real estate. We
Mm-hmm.
have, a business we own a little portion
Yes,
of, right?
yes. And you're
We're
gonna
going to
buy
buy
two,
more of
three
those.
more, brother. We are going to buy
Yeah.
more. Yes.
Right. We're diversifying,
Yeah.
little investments, but you plant seeds. We're planting a lot of seeds all over.
Oh my
But the other
gosh.
thing I've been doing lately, Vinny, which I think is pretty cool, is
Mhm.
I started to listen to people. So like a couple years ago, people would reach out and say, "Hey, I'm buying a franchise," and I didn't know much about the franchise world other than I could finance them with my SBA loans.
Yeah.
So then I went and like, I didn't really tell anybody, but I went through this whole training. I spent thousands of dollars through this to learn the business,
Hmm.
and I didn't do much. I kept on learning and learning and learning. And then finally I'm like, you know what? I don't have much time, but I'm a
Hmm.
business person. So I built a team. I have two franchise consultants on my team that are top producers.
Yes.
And over the time now, I realize that what I'm really good at is helping people become entrepreneurs. And
Yes.
so like
Yes.
I just built another website called Business Ownership Coach. So I'm not a lender anymore. I mean, I still do loans. I still help people that way. But really I help people facilitate, getting into entrepreneurship, whether they want to buy real estate, they want to buy a franchise, they want to buy an existing business. And so that's where I developed Business Ownership Coach. And I love doing this now.
I
And the
love it. I
franchise,
love it. If you
it,
need me to share with them how to raise money, maybe, I mean, it's very possible they'll need the money. I'm just thinking about it loud. We could,
so I interviewed a guy on my podcast, and that's what he does. He's a real estate guy, but he got into franchise business, and he
yeah.
buys franchises, and he raises the 400 grand to open a franchise. He opens it, gets the GM in place. He's opened 8 or 9 of them. They're all cash flow machines.
Wow.
So I use my collective smarts that I've gained from listening to Vinny, to listening to all these people on, cost segregation, on,
Hmm.
raising money, partner deals. And that's how I'm able to help people, because I have a lot of smart people around me. And I'm
Hmm.
always curious to go, okay, well, what is Section 179? What is cost segregation?
Yes.
So when people come to me, I'm like, you can do this, this, and this. I'm not a CPA, but like, go explore this, because this, and
Really.
I solve problems. So, it's exciting. Right before we got on this call, I had a gentleman that came to me, and he was a sales guy and
Hmm.
really nice guy. He played like pro baseball or minor
Yeah.
league baseball, really good athlete in college. And I think he played minor league baseball. And I just found out that, he's buying 5 territories of franchise right now, and he's going to quit his job eventually. And I bet you he's going to go from making $150,000 a year to being, building a multi-million dollar business. I'm going to watch him do this, and I'm going to be a little part of what he's done,
I
because
love it.
that initial 45-minute call I had with him. So
Yeah.
that's really fun. That's fun, and so and I have those same conversations with real estate investors, with entrepreneurs. The other day too,
Hmm.
um, I talked to a guy, and he was 48 years old, and he was like, he finally realized that he was sick and tired of being an employee. Guy makes $67,000 a year. And you know what?
Hmm.
He spent 2 years looking for a laundromat. He bought a laundromat, and
Hmm.
now that laundromat is making him 60 grand a year. It basically
Oh,
replaced his W-2 job, and it was easy
oh my
once he
God.
decided to do it, right? So it's here, it's applying tactical stress. And that could
Yep.
be like, look, I'm W-2 employee, I'm going to buy a business, right? And you're
Yeah.
tactical stress. So I love helping people do that. And that's why I became the business ownership coach.
I love it.
That's
I
how it all
love it.
happened. And I
Kudos.
love it. And
Kudos.
yeah, and it's
I
fun. And
knew, I knew that, I knew it
right?
many, many years we have known each other that, I mean, loan brokerage is great, but having, this whole other things that you have excelled in, so you have such a big network. And by having so many appointments come through all the new techniques that, your postings and shorts and reels, I mean, and your interview that you do weekly on the YouTube, talk about that one too. I mean, everybody should follow Bo there, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, Vinny and we both have our own podcast. We do a weekly show. Don't be like the if you have something to share with the world, you should be sharing it with the world. And
Yes.
so I made a conscious effort to seek out people that have a big audience, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
for anybody that's listening or watching this, just whatever you do and you want your message to be heard, build your platform, build your content, put it out there, but
Mm-hmm.
also get on other people's platforms that have big
Yeah.
audiences that your message will resonate. When I
Yeah.
started doing that over the last 6 months, I get calls and booked appointments every single day. And all these people
Yeah.
already know me because they just watched a 45-minute episode of me talking about where I'm a
Yeah.
genius, right? Because
Mhm.
we all have genius, right? We
Yes.
all have our own genius,
Hmm.
and we should be able to share that message. And then we talked about on our last episode with Tiffany, we talked about the key person of influence. We're all be that person of influence. Get on those stages, whatever that
Hmm.
is to you, because it'll change your life. And for some of us, it takes a long time, and it's like we have to stack bricks, right? And
And
things
it's
don't always
okay.
go our
It's
way.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're saying that because a lot of people listen to you and I and say, I can't do it. I cannot do it. You can. Everything. Rome was not built in a day. And step by step, just like you said, one block at a time, you got to. If you're apprehensive, should I just do some small video and put it on my YouTube channel? It's free, totally free. And Facebook, Instagram, it's totally free. No matter what kind of phone you got, just look at what your superpower is. Superpower, what you're really passionate about. Just put a little video out, clipping out, and stack on it. Like in my case, I'm just starting to post a lot of things about physical being good. At 71, I feel so great. I feel like 25 or whatever. But, walking has been, and then I've been just putting so much out there now, not only my business size, but who Vinny is, the positivity and everything and the mind shift and all. And hopefully people are liking that, and exercising and fitness, that's something which is very foremost in my mind. So what's your superpower is who you are. Get out in the world and let everybody get that positivity from you. Yeah. you know
And circling back with what Vinny just said, that's where tactical stress, like it might stress you out
Mhm.
to do a podcast. You might be
Yeah.
so nervous. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to say, I'm going to say, but
Yeah.
you do it once and
Yeah.
when you get done, it's a sense of relief. And then you do it again and again and again. And then by the 10th time you do it, you're going to enjoy talking.
Yep.
I used to be nervous, believe it or not. I used to be so
Mhm.
nervous. I'd get up and talk in my speech class when I went to junior college. And I was
Mhm.
so nervous to talk. And I was like, oh God, I feel like my palms would sweat. And now it's like, I love it. I love it. I should probably prepare more when I do like get on stage or something, but I just talk.
Mhm.
Um, but the point is like the first time I did it, I was sick to my stomach. And so like if I could do it, you can do it. And like the reason I do it is because I want to get better every day. And that's
Totally.
where this whole tactical stress comes from, that you have to put those good stresses in your life to get uncomfortable. And because if you don't, you're probably going to be disappointed when you're laying in your deathbed and going, I should have done that. I should have done this. And, and then the last thing I'll add to this whole conversation is look, sometimes you get really excited about something
Mhm.
and it doesn't work the way you want it to work, and you stopped and you
Yeah.
didn't try again. That's where you went wrong. I
Yeah.
believe you should, at some point, something's not working the right way. You do have to pivot.
Figure out a
But if you
different
don't give
way.
it a deep shot, right? You have to really drive through something.
Surely.
Or yeah.
It's so true. I mean, if you are so want to accomplish anything in life, and you see, the thing is, when plane takes off, I always say that from New York to Los Angeles, it never goes straight. Never goes straight. That's how our life is too. We never go straight to the end goal. We have obstacles, and that's why I put that, live your life like water. I was reading it, I listened to it, then I put some big postings on the Facebook if anybody wants to follow me on that. Because as the water flows around the rocks and figures it out, and it's sometimes stagnant, sometimes it's flowing, That's what our life is about. It's that way, and if you just don't take too stressful, if tactical stress is good, but don't take it, personally. Don't get all into a spiral down and unfocused and all that. But, live like water, because you will find a way. Just like Bo is saying, don't worry. If you fall down, the biggest thing is to get up. Get up, not just lie on the floor and say everything around me is bad and this person is bad, this is bad, this is bad, but you take charge of your life. I know this has been a great show. I hope you guys have liked it. And, it's really exciting. Again, tactical stress, give your comments right below if you don't mind. And, share some positivity and share, your tactical stress. What are you really, putting yourself into so that you can accomplish bigger goals in the fourth quarter of 2023 and also 2024?
I love it. This was I'm glad I listened to that podcast, and it triggered, I would have never thought of the name tactical stress, but it's really just making yourself uncomfortable. So what are you going to do today to make yourself uncomfortable? Whether that's, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to go on Fiverr right now and have a logo designed for my podcast. Yep. Put that out there right now. It's so easy to do. You just got to take action. You just take action.
Totally. Here, I
Thank
was
you,
so
Vinny.
great to be truthful. I have my podcast 790 shows. I couldn't believe it. 790 shows. I said, that's my shows. But I've been on over 1,000 plus on other shows. It's mind blowing. I mean, you'll get better at it. You will. See you next week.
Yeah.
See you next
guys.
week. See you next week.
Happy to be on your show finally. I'm a long-time fan and I watch all your guys' content. Awesome. We're very, very, very invested in our community.
It's wonderful to be here.
This is Vinny Chopra and also my good buddy Bo and